Welcome back. Split is the place to be for Sentinels in version 1. My name is Upmind, joined here by Sully, and things are going fairly quick. The first two maps were quite lopsided for each one of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, this was a map pool that I kind of put out to be like both teams have very strong and very consistent results on every single map. Maybe besides V1 in the past on Ascent, that being their former instant ban. But what we saw on Ascent basically blew my expectations. And going to this second map, Sentinels, dude, they came back with a vengeance.
No, absolutely they did. They came out swinging, and early on, it was actually version 1 picking up a little bit of that tempo, but after that round that you just saw, after the 4-2 conversion, things just starting to get a little bit more out of hand. You still had most of the players from V1 kind of fragging out back and forth. We had a couple clutches here and there, but after the first couple of rounds, it was all Sentinels.
Yeah, Sentinels definitely found their groove again. We go back to the primary players that you really need to step up for both these sides. I feel like the only win condition that V1 really had going for them this entire series was going to have to be Zelsis and Penny really needed to step up. Well, they did that massively alongside Vanity map number 1, and for Sentinels, it was Sick and Tens that were nowhere to be seen. But in this map, man, Sentinels, they flicked the switch, right? It's Zoms, Tens, and Sick all popping up massively. And you can see just in the damage, 13.7k compared to 10.1. It was Sentinels across the board.
That's very similar for what we saw in map number 1. It was 12k damage going towards the side of V1 and only 10k for Sentinels. So this time it's a little bit more of a gap on an even longer map. So it is what it is. Still Sentinels going quite big in terms of what is just the micro play. And you see that in all the individual interactions. At the very beginning of these rounds, you have a 9-4 scoreline of just the entry frags. But now you go over towards that KDA, you have Sick and Dapper both popping off on that map, and everyone just performed. Every single person for Sentinels ended up coming up big, and that's exactly what we needed. It's exactly what we didn't see on Ascent.
Yeah, and as well for someone like Sick to be able to get those opportunities, to get those ult orbs, to use the run it back to create a whole lot of space. That wasn't something we saw on Ascent. He wasn't able to get that same impact, not able to open up sites like he was here on Haven. Same thing with Tens. Both of those two players on Ascent were getting shut down, but on Haven, things just opened up. Somehow, some way, Tens and Sick just flicked a switch, and they came right back online, and they were opening things up like it was nobody's business. V1 were very clearly struggling with locking down sites, despite having the advantageous Viper and the Astra combo as well. They still couldn't keep those two players out of their sight. But now we go to splits where Sick isn't going to be playing that Phoenix anymore, so they don't have that entry potential, and Tens is more than likely going to be playing the Rays nowadays.
Yeah, as we go back to kind of recap our map selection, dude, this is, it's a little weird because you have curveballs back and forth in terms of these maps. Ascent and Haven are two of the most played maps throughout the map pool period in really the entire scene, whether you're talking about tier 1 or tier 2. But then you go over towards Split, and Split is a very specialized map that both of these teams have quite a bit of history on. But even then, what I'm more excited for is Sentinels really not making too many changes to their comp, but V1 in kind of this new light, picking up that Viper. We saw kind of shades of the KJ. We saw shades of a whole lot of agents already.
Right.
This Split map could just be kind of that perfect storm of all of that.
Yeah, we've seen green from the Viper, we've seen purple from Astra and Rain, we've seen orange from the Rays, red from the Phoenix. What else is going to come out to play? Because clearly, like we've been saying, that they've been in the workshop, right? Bringing in Whippy, removing player 1, and having Vanity kind of step up as the new IGL. So many changes have been made here for V1, and it's clear to see that most of them have been good. Now, maybe the Viper pick's a little bit different, but we'll have to see with the new agent select that they're going in with Split.
All right, let's not take things too mellow yellow, as KJ is indeed yellow, not orange. But even then, let's get a little bit happier now, because V1 is pulling out exactly what we were thinking earlier. Yes, you have that Viper back in the hands of Whippy, coupled up with the Sage, coupled up with the Astra. Split could just be a lockdown map for these players, but Sentinel's going back to good old faithful.
Yeah, I think I said earlier Tens was playing the Rays. No, he's actually playing the Reyna. It's Rays on Icebox. But V1, again, kind of just minuscule changes, it feels like, between both Zelsis and Penny. Penny, who was formerly playing the Jet, now picking up the Reyna. We saw that as well on Haven. And Zelsis, who was formerly playing the Reyna, now picking up the Rays. So they still have that util combo and that util ability with both Astra, right? The Sage Orbs, the Slorbs as well can be very detrimental when comboing any utility. You've got the Mollies, Growlwills, Nades. So much util can be dumped here from the side of V1, and maybe that creates a little bit more of an opportunity, especially with the Viper that Whippy's going to bring to Split. And we all know Split is kind of where Viper, it feels like, was always going to be useful and has been pioneered from the get-go.
And what has really changed here again from prior prior picks for version 1 is, of course, very much, of course, that Viper. But I think more importantly, not a singular player for version 1 is playing that kind of those core. Yeah, the core 2 Sentinels. No KJ, no Cypher. They replaced that up with the Viper. Of course, player 1 being replaced by Whippy. Whippy just kind of has to go with whatever vibe he's feeling. And it looks like that's the kind of the slot that they ended up plugging in. But this is the first time the version 1 has ever played without those core 2 Sentinels. In we go, though. Map number 3.
Yeah, well, Whippy's going to try and play that, obviously, maybe like a Sentinel when we get to the opposite side. But it's quick here for V1. We saw how mid-centric they were on Ascent. Well, it's the same thing here. Early on in this pistol round, 3 players focused up, but that's the advantageous thing is you get this mid control. Now you've got the opportunity to split back into A or B, and with 2 lurks on both extremities, controllers, that's something maybe we didn't touch on a little bit too much, is with double controllers, you can set up a lot of fakes, and well, hit seems to be anchored towards this A side as Astra Star's down as well. 3 players ready to burst up in tens. He's got his back turned. Viper wall is yet to go up. V1 are just going to wait. They're going to slowly walk up these ropes, and at a certain point in time, Tens is going to have to find a way to bail himself out of this position.
Shazam. Yeah, Shazam playing up on the jet this time. Yeah, no, I'm as surprised as you are. But even then, the pulse going in. Nobody going to check this angle because of that Viper wall. Shazam still gets a kill back. Penny, Effie's, Whippy, all collecting frags. Sick is now down to a 1v3. Nobody checking this back, but they get a whole lot of information. Sick line him up. 1-2 kills. Still 25 seconds left on the clock. Vanity just has to extend out onto this site. Somehow land. Sick now at full HP. Gonna slur. He's actually gonna slurb himself right off that angle. And Vanity, he drops right into the crosshair of Sick. Sick going for a fake tap. Still just about 6 seconds left. 5 seconds. Sick playing ring around the Rosie. Vanity needs his kill. 1 second. Oh no, buzzer beater. And the knife comes out for Vanity, but the round is still over. Sentinels wins.
Yeah, so I think Sig's intentions were with that slow warp is he didn't know the exact positioning of where Vanity was going to be, so maybe slow warp's behind him so that if he were to backtrack, he would have heard the sound cue, he would have known that he was in that position. So I've got no idea, but man, another ring around the Rosie to close out a round, and while Sig doesn't get the kill and Vanity gets the knife, it's nothing really to boast about if you've got no round to accompanying it. So Sentinels finding themselves the first here, a little bit shaky of a round. It comes down again to a massive 1v3 coming out from Sig, and V1 opting in this round to go for very minimal reinvestments, a frenzy and a couple of sheriffs here or there. But once more, this mid-centric team is going to go back towards mid, and 3 players awaiting them in heaven.
Okay, yeah, this is light work now from these players. Yeah, Heaven, you can't really fight that with these pistols, man. The Spectres so grouped up on the crossfire, and it just gets a little bit worse just off of its cage. And okay, move aside tens. Shazam going big in that round, but still, it's just the eco frags. It's nothing too crazy, but still, Sully. I mean, that's kind of the thing that we haven't really mentioned all too much. Yeah, no, Tens is taking the back seat now in terms of playing that jet. We've seen it before, but what's kind of the methodology of it?
Well, Tens has always been switching between Raze, Reyna, and he's been playing a lot more flex. We said in the very beginning is that he's playing a lot more flex, and on this Reyna, obviously Shazam, who was traditionally the jet before Tens came into this lineup, is that, well, Tens still in the Reyna can get a lot more impact, right? I feel like you have a lot more faith in him to get a kill, dismiss, and have that kind of security that he can just back out of any fight if he's able to win it. And so I guess that's the methodology. You put Shazam back on Jet, where maybe Silva isn't as useful on this map. So Tens opting to take the Reyna. Sick, obviously, who is traditionally our other duelist up the Sage. It's kind of just a very small switch, but having Tens on the Reyna is always going to be just as deadly as if you were going to be playing that Jet off.
Yeah, potentially so, but again, we'll see that come into more effective, I'd like to think, a little bit later. Especially with Shazam playing more of that pivot between mid and A Heaven. Those are very much hot spots for those ops, but... okay, quick interaction already. Over towards A main. Nobody goes down in instead, it's Tens. Over towards mid, just catching one completely off the lurk. And what is V1 even going for? They've left the spike completely up and completely up in mid. Shazam almost had a chance to completely isolate the spike, but instead Effie's and Zels is still going up over towards the Heaven side, catching up 2 frags, both being successful. Now it just comes down to Zoms essentially. Now in the 1v4, pulls him back with a gravity well. Winning up with that cross, 20 seconds left. Nova pulls in, and now Zoms is just coming Yeah, no. Oh, what? I thought Zoms was isolated. Zoms is still going for more. How does he get 2 kills off that? Dapper long range with that Spectre. Gonna be able to get 146 HP left on Zelsis. Dapper can do this. Zelsis out in the open. The Spectres win the 2v4. What?
Not again, man. Zoms and Dapper, dude.
Yeah, do your dance. Do your dance. Yeah, get it, Dapper. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was wild. Yeah. He's still going for more. 3-0. That's hype, man. No way Sentinels wins that one out. V1 is done for the next 2 rounds.
Yeah, they've got no credits. Another huge play coming out from Zoms in that back, dude. Dapper and Zoms, man, they've just got this gene of clutching. I don't know what's happening here, but huge. This spray transfer, it's even if Vanity was maybe at full HP, it's a straight headshot and a body shot after. So, dude, I mean, that is crazy from Zoms on that spray transfer. In V1, I didn't even know what the idea was from the get-go. Vanity playing with the spike way back in Ramen when his entire team is pressed up towards A Ram. He was banking on they win that fight and he can make that dash in the elevator. A gamble from V1, and unfortunately, I guess it doesn't pay off just because of one player, Zoms, holding the line and the Dapper there to clean it up. Don't know what's going on here, but man, Sentinels firing on all cylinders here early on splits.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, V1, they're not exactly done. I did say that they would be a little bit weaker for the next 2 rounds, or almost completely done. I said that. It's a little bit unfortunate that I did, because I might have to eat my words. You still have the Spectres out alongside a Sheriff. The hands of V1, so they still have a fighting chance. If they want to fight up over towards B Heaven, they have to fight on a plethora of bodies, and also alongside some util, but they've backed out a little bit.
You can see Zoms is now posted back up because V1 have gone this mid area. So again, you rely on just Shazam here to find a kill towards a main, dash out, but the only way he can dash is into possibly opposition towards elevator if there were, but thankfully no one there. V1 have opted to instead approach the other side. Zealous is going to get spotted out by the trip. When do the rotations come? And thing is that with V1 in this mid control, they really don't have to commit. They can bail at any time. That quick transition back to A is so easy. With Penny finding an opening, the wall going up, it's 100% a commit here.
Oh, Zelsis is finding out that interaction. Still sick in the back line, and with that Phantom, can't get anything done. So man advantage now for version 1. You still have Zoms and Shazam. Only making their way back in. Shazam with a good angle. Takes down Penny. There's still one close right below him. I do like this isolated position from Whippy, though, but he's not going to be able to help out Effie's at all. He also has a revive, but he's almost just completely isolated. He's just on the spike. Nobody knows that he's here. You get a cheeky one, but Shazam takes him down. 23 HP. It's a very tall task for Whippy. Still playing around the pillar. A body shot onto Shazam would do it. Indeed, it does. And Zoms has it. Right from around the corner, Sentinels, they dodge a massive bullet.
Yeah, got a little bit heated there. Certainly, Zoms, of course, having to pull the team out in a 1v1. Another clutch, the man. 4-0 here for Sentinels regardless, and it was V1 who made that a very costly round, right? Sentinels, they've been winning rounds, Gus, but it's always been at such a massive cost, it feels like. I mean, again, here, Sick is going to have no opportunity to get a gun. He's going to have to receive a drop if even at all possible. Shazam has gone for the operator and has the Blade Storm, so I mean, they've emptied their pockets in this round. They've been able to accommodate buys because some players have a little bit more credits than others, but no matter what here, Sentinels have got pretty much no credits left over here. So if they were to lose this round, V1 can reset them, and then further down the line, they've got a chance to pull things back here in this half. It's very early days, and Sentinels and economy management has definitely gone out the window due to the damage of V1.
Still a long road, but you can trust in V1. Take back a couple of rounds in this half, but it all starts here. The Sentinels, again, they have them right where they want them. They completely isolate the mid side. They have heavy attention towards the choke points of these areas, and not only that, but still eyes over in B main and in A main. Not spotting anything yet.
Yeah, wall going up as well. Now it's been broken. The idea was force them back to that A side. Shazam is just waiting with an operator. Instead, V1 will break that wall now open up at least another avenue. And that's kind of the whole goal of this mid play, is that because you have mid, you want to be able to transition between A or towards B, and the wall is to obtrude them or try and force them back to the A side, which it does. It has ultimately done that. Zoms in this position has got to focus on multiple angles. One coming from A main, possibly up the ramp, the other from elevator. It's tricky business here, but Shazam is going to offer support with this operator, but he has to hit his shots.
Let's see it. That first contact. Yeah, that one's easy. Whippy with a slow walk. Right in front of him, 17 seconds left. They have to boot on the Jets. The Eye's gonna be able to go down. Shazam! So goes back. Opportunity for the Glide, but he can still go for more. Takes down Penny. These players are isolated. 8 seconds left. There's more players from Sentinels to deal with, and the round is over. These last 2 players are an elbow. And Celsius still gets the kill back. Shazam gets it. And Celsius goes down after time. 5-0.
Dude. How many rounds have been won just from time in this series? Like 4, dude. I cannot believe Shazam locks it down that well. 5 shots and 4 kills. Immaculate coming out from Shazam to just hold that position. I said he needed to hit his shots, but he did more than just hit his shots. He stopped the entire stampede. He had the confidence to take that repeat when there were possibly 3 or more players ready to barge into that site. Huge props to Shazam for locking it down. And well, Sentinels, they do lose a whole lot of players. They have put V1 back on the eco, and he has a chance to reset, but Sick going down almost immediately. They've lost full mid control here.
They've done that a couple of times, but this time they decided to fight. But look what they do in response to it. Taking up full B main control. Ends up close and personal, and you might actually want to look for a lurk. Nobody in heaven. This is a complete change of what Sentinels have been playing around B with. Completely abandoning that area, but okay, V1. They get the information, and they're backing off. Tens could have himself a couple of freebies.
Oh, and this is the danger of being Arena, as you get 1 kill, Gust, and you can immediately dismiss. He's got 2! Didn't even want to go for the dismiss. He got a little bit selfish there, but it doesn't matter because there's still Dapper here on the site.
And Dapper instantly with a camera. Eeks out, takes down Whippy, still one up top, and he knows he's there. And right off the ping, Effies has a runaway, and the knives from Shazam, taking out both Penny and Effies. Penny again was a little bit cheeky, lurking out over towards the mid side. Sentinels does not care. All of the players win out their initial battles, except for the battle in mid. And version 1 certainly looking worse for wear.
I won't lie, I was indeed a little bit worried after they lost mid control, but you said it perfectly, is that in reaction to that, they just decide, okay, you can have mid, we'll just take B main, and Tens just sat there. He got 1 kill, he could have dismissed, but nah, he said, I want to mow them all out. 6-0 here for Sentinels, a very clean start so far. V1, they'll get back on their feet with a bye here, and he's just all over the map, man. He's going to take another fight down towards mid, gets a kill, dismisses, and resets. This is perfect from him. There's an Astra Star literally waiting to support him.
Sometimes he's just able to go safe alongside a Sage Wall. Okay, great discipline. Both players, they go back over towards that stairs side. They completely abandon heaven. And if these players from V1 actually do want to make their way through, they have 0 information on who's actually here. They know that there's at least 2, but they still have the crossfire back in the hands of Dapper in sight. Dapper, no more camera though. Doesn't have eyes on B main just yet.
Tens, he could do this again. Just 1 kill, instant dismiss away, and he's being offered minimal support. Oh, what a grab! Pulls them back, but he's not going to find a kill. And once more, it's on to Dapper.
Oh, Dapper! Tries to take down the tries to take down the Eye, but instantly flicks over towards Whippy. Still Penny with a frag back. Sick has the angle. Slow orb for slow orb. Playing too crazy just yet. 3v3. It's V1 mostly with control of the B site.
30 seconds
okay,
left.
that Cosmic Divide is going to save up a whole lot of time. There you go. That's one part of the step. That's one part of the puzzle that they just were missing. But Sick, there you go. He sticks around for long enough. Just like that, it's a 2v3.
Spike will be going down here, but the utility is not present here for at least V1, and they're just gonna wait for the divide to go down. No, they're gonna go for a quick burst. Penny with a 3rd, and he gets out of dodge.
Last player standing.
Get the hell out of dodge. It's gonna be the same thing for Effies. Effies just play around with a little bit of time. Heals up right behind the Cosmic Divide. They're trying to clear up pretty much everything. They clear up the other side of the pillar. Shazam finally going for that diffuse, and it's in the middle of the cloud. Spray down from Effies. Has to spray transfer into Zoms. This was looking good for V1, but Sentinels finds a way back again.
Unfortunate with that Cosmic Divide placement for V1. Zomzy decides to pull it out his own. kind of locking and splitting across that entire site. I mean, he isolates the player. He knew one was coming from B main. You split, you kind of get them into 1v1s, and they had the 1v1 here against Penny, which was huge. But Dapper again, able to at least get one kill. I mean, that's a position where it feels like you shouldn't get anything. You've got a Leer in your face, you're nearsighted, you've got nowhere to look, but he's still able to muster one. V1 definitely taking a huge hit, but they've got 3 ultimates lined up, 2 being pretty major. The Showstopper, the Viper's Pit for the post plans. It does look like we have another tack pause, and it's definitely, this one is 100% for the side of V1.
Just not looking all too great. It's almost that same disastrous feel. It's that pit in your stomach for a team that should just be doing better, that should be winning out some of these rounds, that have the golden opportunities. And that was Sentinels in map number 1. Now we're seeing almost that same situation with V1. And how can they change things up? I mean, we've been seeing more or less the same flow of the round. Fight for mid control, they get mid control. What do they do from there? They funnel their way in onto a site, and they go down to what would be one person in just a good spot. It's a formula. It's as formulaic as you can get, and potentially might be the same. But they went out mid control again, though. There's actually 2 players here, but Shazam goes right outside the nebula as attack pause subsides.
Now Tens is here to reinforce. You don't expect both of your duelists to be kind of in the same area when Tens and Shazam are playing so split apart. So you don't expect a second rifler here. And it's Tens, so he gets a kill, dismisses. Shazam offers that support. It's a deadly duo here, and Shazam lining up this operator. It's going to prevent Vanity, or apologies, yeah, Vanity from trying to support the rest of his 2 teammates. And they certainly hear the drop. Vanity's might get caught out, and yes, he does. Tens able to remove him from the field of play. Viper will up, but it's a clean up here by Sentinels. And yeah, it is now just sick, but a 4v2 and rotations are coming in quick.
Penny, okay. And alongside Whippy, they had a great start. Penny somehow getting himself a second over towards that back line. But a very cheeky spot closes things out again. That was sick in a good spot. 8-0. And that time V1 didn't have much to work with, so that's at least a little bit more momentum back in their favor. And look at the ultis now. It's almost fully ready for both of these teams. Almost.
Yeah, only one that's kind of far off is Vanity and obviously Zombs, who used their Cosmic Divide earlier. The heavy lane, V1. This is the first time where we really haven't seen a focus towards mid. It's just going to be Vanity who's lined up stars to try and help him out. And they are scared of this operator. You can see how many stars they've committed just to ensure that they don't lose an early player. Sig will throw it down early. Wall goes out, and Celsius slowed down. The blast pack doesn't get as much space as maybe he would have wanted. And Sentinels, for the time being, a strong control here towards A if Celsius loses this fight.
Oh, but Celsius, sharp off the elevation, getting a big one. But look at Sick. Up close and personal, wants to fight this. He actually wants to go right into the Cosmic Divide. Celsius is up top. He wants to get a revive right in the middle. What is going on? Sick. I think he's pinched off by the wall. He would have to take down one of the spots. Oh, potentially more space. He was just trying to stay in the middle of the nebula. But still picks up a teammate, so very awkward, at least from a caster side of things. But even then, still back. Shazam catching up that rotation from V1. It's fast, it's furious. There's 2 players back over towards stairs. Shazam still holding it down. This side is all his. Shazam not gonna be able to get a third. Instead now, still playing around pivot. That cage goes down, has a good angle. Bang gets a 4th. 1 more remaining. 6 stills the ace, but Shazam, the guardian of the B site.
That is just outrageous from Shazam to do that again. 2 times he's done that in this game, and both on opposite sites. But you have to give credit to Dapper. I mean, that cage that he threw up to give Shazam the millisecond to reposition. Look at this. You see the dash. Cage went up there, and that's how he's able to reposition. Give props where props are due. Shazam gets his, but Dapper was instrumental in keeping Shazam alive and allowing him to pivot. 9-0 for Sentinels. We should just call them the Splintinels at this point, because dude, it is their map. It is their map.
The Splintinels. Okay. All right. Oh my God, Shazam! Yeah, go for it again from downtown. Can't take down a second. Well, Effie's instead picking up Penny, and again Shazam misses out. Very uncharacteristic, and it leaves the site wide open. And Zom's in the back line decides to fight. Still tens. Right up top. Okay, with that Viper's pick, covers up a whole lot of space. Sick trying to go for the frag onto Whippy, but Whippy ends up taking it down right in the middle of the snake bite too. So just getting more and more damage done. And tens walks right into Whippy again. 1v2. Dapper, can he pull that magic? The spike is very fresh going down, and Dapper heard the spike going down, specifically in the position. But V1 finally have a round back. A couple of missed shots on the A site, but V1 made it fast. This is the pace that we were missing out from version 1. This team has the fire, and only now did they show it.
Yeah, I love how they played around that Viper's pit. I mean, at first I was like, Whippy threw that really far out, but you saw, if you kind of rewatch that round, it forced everybody to go around towards Elbow to wrap around that sharp corner, and Whippy just dumped snakebite after snakebite to try and delay them. So V1, off of a little bit of help from the Viper's ultimates, were able to clean up the round on ultimate. It was a very nice execution. You overwhelmed Shazam, who couldn't find that second shot, unfortunately. Still, it's Sentinels with an immaculate lead, 8 rounds over their opponents. V1 still a long way to go to at least try and recover this half. We're down to the last 2 rounds, and you know, at this point, I think anything other than an 11-1 scoreline would most certainly be helpful.
They need to help themselves. Do a couple of rounds and a couple of frags. Shazam. Shazam.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, he's on the prowl for kills, man. Getting out of his way. Just pick up a singular lockdown over at ramp in tens. A good angle onto Penny, but that grab well ends up taking it completely out of the equation. Oh, man, that satchel. Whoa. Whoa. Sick from nowhere. From the mid side. Picking up 3 frags. Vanity is the last remaining in a 1v4 coming in from B main. There's a tripwire right next to him, and he has to jump to even get anything done, but Shazam is there in a good angle. Again, it was sort of comical. I think there was a satchel that ended up blasting one of their own teammates back into mid, but as funny as that was, that might have actually helped Sig get more frags. Like, that's insane. Sentinels locked it completely down. They gave up control.
Yeah, I think the whole point of that satchel was when I think it was Zelsis that hit the trip, and he was like, I don't want to get sprayed from the middle of B main. We have no one in B main. So he tried to blast back his way out of there, but I think ultimately like forced like his teammate behind him as well into the open arms of Sick, and that's what happened with that double exchange. And now with this last round, Gus, it's funny in that one, but I mean, there's nothing to laugh about here. If you're V1, quick pull straight into heaven. What can they really do here? Already, Cage goes up to delay. Dapper's got all of that space. It's tens here who is alone, but again, he has that dismiss. He can easily dip out straight into B-man if he wants, but he wants to stick around.
Instant dismiss, but he's still going for more frags. He's gonna be able to get one, so a second dismiss, and he's going for 3 tens! Lining up 3, making a 4th. Why not tens? Well, tens and Shazam having big rounds here on the B site, in version 1 going down with a whimper. 1-11. And this game is essentially done if Sentinels end up winning out this pistol.
Big if, because so far when whichever team is at a deficit at the half, the other team is always able to pick up the pistol round. So you're hoping here maybe that pattern remains for V1. Sentinels, though, it's flawless. This is what you expected from them in maybe map number 1. Well, they're brought in map 2 and map number 3. Better late than never, if you ask me. No revenge tour just yet in lower bracket. That is if V1 can't pull the comeback. Keep in mind, this is the team that's... Well, this was the team that did pull an 11-1 comeback, so not all hope is lost.
Done it before. Why not do it again? Is this the same map, too? Okay. All right. Version 1. Let's go. Let's go. All right. History calls in the biggest stage for them thus yet. A couple of frenzies to try to help them out, but they're getting overwhelmed in heaven. But great stuff off that slow orb, and Effie's gets an isolated one onto tens, but they're still trying to fight very aggressively.
Yeah, that wall is going to be a thing we see so commonly just thrown out at the very start of a round to kind of give them the instant control towards mid. And, well, it worked out here, but... they still give an avenue, and Penny should kill 100%. Yeah, there it is. Penny is going to maintain elevator control, split it now to a 3v4, and Zealous is just waiting around that corner. How many bait and switches have we seen? Well, there's another one here for Split. And now Sick and Shazam, the last 2 remaining. However, they have felt like they've been the most impactful, so we'll see what they can get out of this.
Potentially so. Vanity looking to shut down at least one of them, and Didi gets it. Right back from Shazam. Shazam, let's see it, baby. 1v4 down to a 1v3.
It wouldn't be the first one from this team.
No, absolutely
I
not.
got the spike. 30
be like-
seconds left.
Fifth, mainly.
Something like
Shazam. Shazam. Playing around. He only has a singular updraft to really help him. Oh, okay, the fake. Still tries to go for the kill onto Whippy, but that's it. Version 1. Double their score line to open up the second half.
One headshot is all it would need from that Ghost with no armor Shazam. He had to like hit a double dink instantly and pray that Whippy misses one headshot and hits a body instead. But there it is, V1. They pick up the pistol. You know, comeback is cooking. Comeback is cooking. You never know what could happen here. Sentinels still with a pretty big lead. Don't get me wrong. 9 rounds, and of the 9, only 2 of them have to go right. Can't imagine this comeback being pulled off, but I don't want to count V1 out at all. Now that they got the bye, you just need to build up maybe a little bit of momentum and put Sentinels in that atrocious cycle of the economy. And Effie's has already kicked us off with 1 and low HP on Shazam as well, but we will be healed up momentarily.
Just a slow burn for Sentinels as they again pulling a page out of the V1 book. Just fighting up from mid side again. Oh, okay, that knife up close. Actually baiting out Zelsis a little bit. Almost could have been exactly what they wanted, but that Nova Pulse doesn't catch anyone. They blow up the wall. Penny is here. In a pretty good spot. That Satchel blowing him back too. And down goes the wall. Penny alongside Zelsis looking to frag out. And Effie's is now here to help out too. Spike is down right towards the mid side. Again, you can't let this get too dangerous. Want to keep up that economy. Still Tens and Dapper alive.
Tens is at full HP plus some with the overheal. He's being pulled in. The Sheriff though is deadly, and unfortunately he is dead. Zelsis with a quick 3k cleanup, charging up that showstopper, but it's nice and clean from V1. Like you said, you don't want to lose as many players. You want to keep yourself disciplined, ensure you have a guaranteed bonus going into this round, which they will have now. And Sentinels are thereby back. It's a very small margin of error for V1, so you hope that with this bonus round, they can not only win it, but keep, again, as many players alive to keep the economy going.
It's proficient. At least for now. This is their biggest obstacle yet. This is where Sentinels can certainly stretch away and take back this game almost entirely. But look at this now. We talked about Star Wars before, and now it's just a plethora of early util over towards the B main and mid area. Sentinels not exactly falling trapped to it. They do have that lurker over on A, one of the purveyors of it, one of the pioneers of even going for A lurk off Sentinels. Dapper there, Penny right around the corner.
Beautiful.
Instant dismiss. Clinical from Penny, and he's out of there.
Yeah, and Shazam is looking for that trade, but now maybe he's a little bit overcommitted to this fight. You go down, you lose more ground. Penny's got a second. He's out of dismisses, but man, that's really all you needed. A one-way as well to support him. The A site's been given up, but you've got 2 picks. You've taken down the 2 heavy hitters. Your duelist, Tens and Shazam both gone. It's a 5v3.
Dapper! He lines up one. Penny almost fell into that same trap. The Penny. Sound Dapper right through the smoke from behind it. Sick and Zombs. These 2 players have broken some ankles already. Can they do it again? Zombs is up close. He just wants to get that damage in and allow his teammate to just wait out time. Penny around. 2 players still laying. Sword is gonna delay so much time, and it's a great angle. Vanity still with that Spectre, but sick, running out of bullets, punches it away. That was a man advantage for Version 1, and it's out and away. 12-3. Sentinels are 1 round away from closing out the BO3.
Oh, that is a huge recovery from Sentinels. Down at a 5v3 with both your duelists gone, but the core 3, Sick, Zombs, and Dabbers, really all you needed here. Penny did such great work here, but they knew Shazam was going to be on that chase, and I think they maybe overcommitted those players, lost control, and Zombs was just really good timing as well in that 2v1. Puts now Sentinels up 12-3, match series and advancement point to the winner semifinals. What can they do here, V1? The damage was dealt in the last round, but you need to pounce on it here, as Shazam will take all of that early space. But on the other side, V1, they've got all of B main.
All of B main, but it's not exactly coming into too heavy of an effect. Nobody from Sentinels is there, not even paying attention to it, but they have to pay attention to it right after. There goes in that Satchel from Zelsis. Showstopper in, has to clear out at least one of these angles. It's a 50-50, and no, he blasted right into mid. Tens could be here for that trade back, but no, doesn't get it.
Now Shazam is going to take Or give a sound cue. He's given a very tiny sound cue, but it's V1 who haven't taken any fall for it. Zelsis up here using his really own gun, which was the showstopper. Now he just got a little itty bitty pistol, but another Astra grab. Well, this is a lot of damage and a beautiful swing for both Effys and Zelsis up top. But the revive back into play. Dapper with that late lurk after the wall has been broken. It's a 5v2, and Sentinels are paving their way to the semifinals.
And so overwhelming. Sentinels come out from every crevice possible to make their way into the B site, and now it's just done. Whippy throwing in a snake bite. He's behind a cosmic divide. 12 HP. Sentinels just watching up that drop. Whippy essentially just delaying his downfall, but he doesn't exactly want to give up. That's the winner spirit. Version 1 essentially has to keep up that spirit for that losers bracket, because now it's just starting to get rough. That Astra still has more util. They're blowing it in. Whippy waiting up for a couple of pixels, but a shot to the head from Sick finishes it off. Sentinels, they pull it back from a 1-0 deficit up to 2-1, and just like that, Sentinels are only 2 best of 3s away from Iceland.
There you go, man. That's the Sentinels we know and love. They brought it back in those last 2 maps right when they needed it as well. It looked rough on Ascent. I won't even lie to you. V1, there was so much hope, I feel like, to maybe pull this to a 3-map series, a 2-1 victory, maybe even a 2-0. But nah, Sentinels, they reset so hard in that second map, and that fire just kept on going. You talk again about those 2 purveyors, both Sick and Tens Gust. Huge factors in this victory, I think, for Sentinels.
It's what they needed. They needed their duelists to truly step it up. And I mean, Shazam was kind of quiet throughout this whole thing, right? Shazam finally coming up big over in Split in what was the most overwhelming victory yet that we've seen here on stream. And again, it was quite a story for really this entire map, because at first we were thinking V1, oh yeah, they're on fire.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of jump back to these last 2 maps and just how good V1 looked, at least the very beginning. Ascent, obviously, they dominated that map, but on Haven, things kind of just, I felt like, fell out of their grasp, and some instrumental plays from Sentinels got them that lead, got them that clear advantage, and they just started to pull away with it. So V1 going into Split, I think no matter what, it was going to be a hard reset that they had to do mentally.
Yeah, and it was Sentinels that really took that time, right? I think map number 2, they took it in stride. Version 1, I mean, although that knife was cool, they still ended up losing out yet another round to just getting their ankles broken. Yeah. That's all we saw.
I felt like there were a lot of like 1v1s that V1 just couldn't win out, and I think a lot of these can, like, again, this clip from Shazam, dude, his ops were outrageous here on Split. So huge and so clutch, but again, there were a lot of like 1v1s that they couldn't win out, a lot of positions like that 5v3, or I think it was even a 5v2 at that point, where they ended up losing. So a couple rounds went away from V1 and ultimately just snowballed to this Sentinels effect.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those crazy games from a lot of these players from Sentinels, and it's what we expect. They're the Masters champions. They're supposed to be the #1 here in NA, and there were doubts just a week ago, Sully,
right, yeah,
if this team would even be close to making it to Iceland. I mean, this was certainly a showing to really kind of just capitalize on what's going on in this game. And just look at the stat line, 12k to 9k damage, 3 objective wins, aka V1 did not have really any opportunities at all to get an attacking side in. But man, this is as clear-cut as you can get here on our screen.
Yeah, I mean, we've had pretty major differences between the damage in terms of the thousands, but this one was huge. Basically a 2.4k damage, or yeah, 2.4k difference between these 2 teams. I mean, earlier was like in the thousands, like 1,000 to 2,000, but no, this was a huge difference. In Sentinels, it was a deserved victory. They clearly dominated the server. They were very good at maneuvering around the map, and well, there's the highlight player, Shazam. We saw his highlights, dude. He popped off this map.
Yeah, 3.0 KDA, 22 kills, another day in the office.
Yeah, lights
for good old Shazam. Had to be, right? Still Petty on the other side of the server, 17 kills. Still fragging out pretty consistently, although in those rounds, right? But not exactly in their favor. Again, Version 1 going to be dropping down to the losers bracket, and I think we could actually have a little bit of an update on our pre-game comparison, because Tens was fairly consistent throughout that entire BO3. Same thing with Zelsis.
Right, I'd like to think so as well. Tens was deathly quiet in the first map. Don't even get me wrong. Zelsis, though, was just like this spark, I think, throughout this entire series for V1. Penny as well. Those two players, they really only struggled, I felt like, in map number 2. Just on split, it was just impossible to get anything going. So, well, maybe Tens didn't get any MVPs for us. It still felt like his impact was radiating throughout the entire map. He was there to support Sick. He was there to support Shazam. He had very impactful frags, and well, it just shows that these two are going to clash a whole lot more in the future.
Absolutely. I'm excited for it. Certainly, Zelsis has a pretty bright future alongside the rest of version 1, and we'll see them a little bit later over towards that losers bracket. But ladies and gentlemen, of course, we have to go into a little bit of a break because we have another game to set up. But before we do so, we wanted to give a big shout out. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. We are going to give a shout out to BenQ, but before we do that, let's look at the bracket because there are a couple of updates. Still, 2 players or 2 teams have already gone down over towards that losers bracket. And of course, now Sentinels inching in, but it's the other side of the bracket that we have to worry about. XSET versus NRG coming up, Sully, Envy and C9 Blue. Those 2 matchups alone are going to be pretty hype.
Yeah, well, there's the matchup we were all dreaming of, 100 Thieves and Sentinels. It was bound to happen. I felt like if it was V1 100 Thieves, we would have been flabbergasted. But no, it had to be Sentinels and 100 Thieves meeting up in that upper semifinals. It's a rematch, basically, of the semifinals of the first strike. But Anbox and V1, 2 teams that have made major strides in these past couple of weeks and even the past month or so with a couple of roster changes, more notably Anbox making a whole lot of changes. They've found their stride, but unfortunately losing out to the top dogs, 100 Thieves, I think one of the other favorites to make it to Iceland.
Yeah, it's really those 2 teams. Like, if we saw 100 Thieves versus Sentinels in the grand finals or the winners finals, wouldn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
But we're seeing it in winners semifinals. That matchup is going to be big coming up tomorrow. And finally, what I mentioned earlier, before we get into the break, before we get into XSET versus NRG, we can finally give a big shout out to one of our sponsors here for the VCT Challengers Playoffs, none other than BenQ. Have you guys ever wondered why the majority of the professional Valorant players choose to use a Zowie monitor? That's because they are truly designed for the FPS community. I mean, they've been around the community for a while. The sponsoring most tactical FPSs and really Zowie monitors. Well, they focused on what matters for in-game performance, reliability, speed, clarity, and comfort. With exclusive technologies like dynamic accuracy and color vibrance, Zowie monitors make it easier than ever to track enemies, control weapon spray, and secure the site for your team. Type !Zowie in chat. Again, that's !Zowie in chat, and click the panel below to head to Zowie's website and learn more about how dynamic accuracy can improve your gameplay. Again, thank you very much to BenQ and Zowie. We'll be right back. XSET versus NRG, our next best of 3 to cap off our winners bracket here for the VCT Challengers Playoffs.